I'm not going to say a single word about the Tennessee Titans record against the Indianapolis Colts because I was a punter, and there's no reason for me to talk about that. With that being said, we did not punt much against the Tennessee Titans, so you probably have no clue who I am to begin.
Look, I'm unstoppable. Forget your defense, nothing but an obstacle. Run it back, switch it up, call it audible. Serving up them Hail Marys till the game over with the showstopper. So hot, you gotta blow on it. I said I'll huff and I'll puff, then I'll pass to my left while I'm looking to my right. Hit him right in the chest. It be looking like magic. Better give me the throne. I ain't talking about Patrick, but I rep my home. I'm never at the end of my zone. I'm bad to the bone. Eating up these pig skins like they chicharrones. And you a douche cabron. Mira, mira at the mirror on the wall. I'm the greatest of them all. They gon' put me in the hall. Your name is only written in a bathroom stall. Quit your stalling and make a play. My drive too long. Pop the clutch, I don't pump the brakes. I know what it takes to gain the muscle, get rugged. These butterfingers be fumbling. Squash the scrimmage and rub it in Robitussin. How I give them concussion. They see in double, they rushing and pass the shovel. The dirt and rubble, I bury them under it. Stay in your huddle and get 10 yards back. Never turn your back. I'ma pull your flag. I go full contact. Out punch, out kick like a shotgun.
Yeah, we are back. We are back for another week. We are back here again. Hey, make sure wherever you're watching from, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, wherever the hell else we're streaming from right now, make sure that you are commenting, liking, sharing, all that good stuff, because we're gonna be a little bit more tame this week. All right. Last week, we kind of went off the hinges. I blame Austin, but I mean, either way, like I said, we're still good content nonetheless. All right. So please make sure that you are liking, commenting, and sharing. And yeah, let's just get to it. Welcome back to the HorseShoe Mob Podcast. We're talking about everything Colts, and then like I said, we slander some people here and there. However, we're gonna. Well, no, I'm not giving any flowers. No, I'm not giving any flowers. I'm not giving any flowers because you did something you were supposed to do. I don't care about that. Whatever. But yeah, so without further ado, let's just get to the guys. First, we have with us the rabble rouser himself, Austin Cook, everybody.
What's up? I'm Austin.
Then we have with us everyone's favorite Ballard enthusiast, Harish Nukala.
But we like the group we have.
See, there you go. That's exactly what I was talking about, right? And then we have with us the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who roots for his Celtics all the time, Josh Sr.
Roots for the Celtics. The team that was up 30 and lost by 2.
The huge advocate for the Celtics.
Huge Celtics guy.
The team that was up 30 points and lost by 2.
He roots for them very bigly.
By the way, Chris Jackson, while we're here, I just want to wish you not good luck these next 2 days.
Why me?
As the Mavericks take on the Kings for that tonight.
Okay.
And wait, you're still a Kings fan, right?
Yes. And by the way, by the way, shout out to Domantas Sabonis, the new Mr. Double Double, broke Kevin Love's record.
Yeah. Derek Lively shut him out.
That's cool. That is cool. But guess what? Mr. Double Double. From now on, when you call him Domantas, make sure you say double double out right after. That's all I'm saying.
That's kind of hard to say. Double double Domantas. Domantas double.
Exactly. Say that 5 times fast. I dare you. With water in your mouth and everything. All right. All right. And of course, as Harish said, I'm Chris Jackson. So let's get to it. Let's just get to it. Because so last week we talked about potentially going and signing Sneed. We talked about implications, how it would look if for some reason things didn't go the way that they were supposed to. And lo and behold, last minute we get news Saturday night that Sneed, L'Jarius Sneed from the Kansas City Chiefs, was officially involved in a trade with an AFC South team. And that AFC South team was not the Indianapolis Colts. And as a matter of fact, it was the Tennessee Titans. So Sneed technically does stay in the South, but He ends up going to the Titans. Reactions.
I don't really know what there is to say.
Yeah,
It's the scenario I didn't want to see happening.
Mhm.
But then when you take a step back and look at it, when you look at the guaranteed money he got, I can understand why Ballard said no. I mean,
Yeah.
I know Ballard's cheap. I wouldn't be necessarily. I'm not upset that he said no to $55 million. That's a lot for Sneed.
On a
There's
$76 million deal total.
Yeah,
Like,
over 10 million more guaranteed than the next cornerback in the NFL. Like, that's
He's
crazy.
not even the best cornerback in the league.
yeah. I think we kind of saw that there was the overpay. Like, we saw how much he was getting. And mind you, it's not to say that he's not talented, but the thing is, for 4 years, 76 million with 55 million guaranteed, knowing exactly how that goes. And mind you, he's not even the highest paid, but also it's just like to have that kind of guaranteed money. It's just like it and like I said, I don't want to sound objectively like I'm hating, but it's just like it seems like a desperation move.
they are desperate.
For the Titans,
They had a terrible secondary last year.
they were bad.
So and
that
I
was our secondary.
and well, yeah, but I was arguing with a Colts fan on Facebook. So I mean, do with that information what you will. I was arguing with a Colts fan on Facebook today, and he was saying that the Titans are the most improved team in the division.
Ow.
Nope. They're still the Texans.
I'm not going to say we're even the most improved because we're not. We didn't improve at all. We just re-signed everybody.
And that was my thing because, like I said, I know that we talk about, teams in division, but, we can also objectively talk like football fans and talk about the fact that if there was any team that improved, it had to be the Texans because they literally were able to address trouble spots. You get Hunter. And not only that, but the thing is, you were also the team that ended up having double-digit wins in a year where you were projected to have half the wins that you had. Yeah. And then on top of that, you go ahead and you invest in pass rush, which you needed. And I mean, to me, it's just like I don't see how you can say to me, my logic was that you can't say a team is the most improved team when that team had gaping holes in certain spots on their team, and they literally only fixed the gaping holes to make sure that they weren't gaping anymore. They're not gaping holes anymore. They're just holes now.
But they overpay for those positions, every last one of them.
I mean, I think there's a case for you could. I mean, this is also a team once again where you don't have a whole lot of rookies. So I mean, you don't have a whole lot of guys. Yeah, and like let's just say going into next year, mind you, it's just like they're utilizing this time with the rookie contract at quarterback to go and see where they can invest, because if Will Levis ends up being a good thing, then cool. But the thing is, if Will Levis ends up not working out, then you already have a team in place potentially, and you'll probably have to look at quarterback, somewhere within the next year or two, maybe. But you still have that time to buy. And then also, if you need to go and get another quarterback, 9 times out of 10, you're going to go and you're probably going to end up getting another rookie quarterback, somebody who's maybe a little bit better, which means that you're now extending the lifetime that you have to be able to spend money by not, an extra 3 years, but now you're extending that 3 years plus however long you have with that rookie. So you never know.
I was looking for a post I saw the other day, and it was like here it is. So they added Daniil Hunter, Aziz Al-Shire, Mixon, Danico Autry, Tommy Townsend, and Jeff Okuda. But then they lost Jonathan Grenier, Devin Singletary, George Fant, Sheldon Rankins, Blake Cashman, Denzel Perryman. That's basically what they've gained and lost this year. Right?
I mean, I think if you're looking at a scale, if you're looking at a point scale, you might have lost 6 points, but you gained maybe like 7.5. Right.
So yeah, I mean, so how much did they they improved, but how much did they really improve?
Yeah,
not much, not much. But
well, so and But I guess for me, it's just like if we're looking at how like a team can improve. I mean,
Yeah.
you improve the interior out. So now you know exactly what you have. You know what you have with Autry. He's a little bit older, yeah, but the thing is, Autry, I think, is still going to be a dog. He's still somebody who, when you pair him with someone, he has the
Yeah.
ability to make the person next to him better because he can operate in a way where he knows exactly where to go and what to do. The difference with having somebody like, let's just say, like on Tennessee, for example, once again, when you're adding a Awuzie and Sneed, when you lost somebody like Fulton, now mind you, Fulton was a starter last year, and even as a starter, Fulton was trash. So the thing is, you know that there's a massive drop off when it comes to cornerback. Now what you did was you remedied by having two cornerbacks now. So you have two guys that you'll have at corner. But then after that, once again, it's a depth drop off because of the fact that I don't know if you have anybody after that that's serviceable. You might be able to put McCrary in. I think they moved Molden over to safety. And even at safety is a big problem issue as well, because I mean, this safety help was not that good for Tennessee also. So, I mean, you can look at it either way. And then Farley, you still don't know what you have with Farley, but I think you're going into year 4? Because I think he was drafted 2020. And I think this is his final year. So, I mean, this is a do or die year. But injuries has really been his thing. It's kind of like what happened last year with signing D-Hop. And you have D-Hop, and then you have everybody else below D-Hop.
Yeah.
And you saw there was a clear gap in between D-Hop and the rest of the guys.
It was a good move.
Yep. Look, listen, I'm not saying that, it was an overpaying. We shouldn't have done it. I'm saying it's an overpaying. We should have still done it because it's that desperate of a need for this team that it should have still been done.
I mean, we got into a semi bidding war, but they overpaid because, like you said, they are desperate. And their secondary it's pathetic. I mean, the guys we mentioned for us, Fulton and the guy from Auburn, he's decent. Farley is a bust. So, I mean, adding the guy from the Bengals and adding Sneed does help, but the team's still behind the sticks.
Yeah, what were you saying, Austin?
I don't know if we should have done that. I think, yes, we need a veteran, but at the same time, we shouldn't overpay for one because we do have a good cornerback room. It's the safeties that I feel like we still need help at.
Oh,
that's fair.
Yeah.
Do we have a good corner? I think we just have a young cornerback room, and that's probably where the veteran leadership might come into play. Again, I think Juju Brents is. Yeah, I think Juju is going to be a star. I think he's going to be a stud. Jalen Jones, I think will be good. I'm still worried about Dallas Flowers. I don't think you can. There's not many guys to come back from an Achilles injury, especially in a corner, a wide receiver, running backs. These positions where you use your legs so often. It's not. I mean, I don't. It's just such an unknown. So yeah, maybe that's where a veteran comes in, but we still haven't seen much movement on that either. That we know of it.
Yeah, but I think the other big thing is with our cornerbacks. I don't think our cornerbacks are necessarily bad by any stretch of the imagination. I just think we just have a shit defensive scheme because, I mean, it's just like we're playing the most predictable zone possible, and you have to play in those spots in order for the zone to work. But the thing is also, in order for the zone to work, you have to have guys on that back end who are able to operate on their own. And as we've seen before, Rodney Thomas isn't able to operate on his own. Now, Julian Blackmon can, but the thing is, Julian Blackmon is still in the wind right now.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, it's just like you have Thomas at free safety. We still have Cross, where I still think that Cross can actually go and potentially do something because, I mean, he did have flashes last season when he was able to come in. I mean, I think, like I said, I know that it's a very small sample sizing, but just the way that he played that one play to Pickens, where he basically went to the spot and basically took the ball off of him with George Pickens, who's an absolute dog. Right. I think that in and of itself just showed exactly what he's capable of doing, but he just doesn't have those opportunities.
He's not fast, but he's
who,
smart.
Nick Cross?
Right. He's not.
No, Nick Cross is fast. The only problem that they have is that he is somebody who's fast, but sometimes he gets a little bit jumpy, and so he takes himself out of a play potentially, just trying to look for like the big play move.
Yeah, he's trying to anticipate rather than just, he uses his speed, but he uses his speed to anticipate and not to make a play on the ball. He wants to be the first guy to make the play on the ball and not actually make the right football play.
Yeah. But so, and it's funny that we talk about this because, when we talk about the secondary, when we talk about everything regarding, this defense, Chris Ballard came out today. And Harish, I will actually allow you to go ahead and do it. Just go.
But we like the group we have.
That's basically what was said in what he posted, because Chris Ballard basically just went and gave us the abridged version of, hey, listen, it's really hard to play cornerback in the NFL these days. And, we're always looking to improve, but we like what we have right now. And he didn't exactly say it in those particular words, but he basically said that with what he said, because, and I'm trying to pull up the quote now. He defended his free agency thing. He said, "Oh, we did spend," but he said different is not always better. And then when he said, and this was his quote. This was his quote. We actually got this from Landon Oliver on Twitter. The quote was, "No question, we got work to do in the secondary still. But I like our 3 young corner. Juju's got to be healthy. We got to get Dallas Flowers back healthy. We think we will. We think Juju will be back healthy. We think both of them are very good. I think we underestimate what Jones did. I thought Jones played really good football last year and did it against some very talented wideouts. Never once backed down. He's going to continue to get better. We think these guys are going to continue to get better." And this is and that is the long version of hit it, Harish.
Whoops.
But we like the group we have.
So the thing is, you know how you can always tell how Chris Ballard is kind of spinning his web and working his magic. He starts off with telling us exactly what it is that we need to do. And he tells us very specifically. He says, "No question, we got work to do in the secondary still." And then what he does is he gives us all the reasons why he's not going to do any work on the secondary still, by giving us everything that he gave us when it came to Juju's health, when it came to Dallas getting healthy, when it came to Jalen Jones having to play and how he had a junkyard dog attitude. And it's like, bruh, we've done this song and dance before. Like, it's like that one player from Purdue who knew the whole entire choreography while not even looking at the crowd behind him doing the choreography. It's just like, we know this song and dance. You're going to tell us this. You're going to tell us that. That sounds fantastic. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing here? And that's what makes it all the more frustrating, because that we need to do this. We know that we need safety help, and we know that there's safeties out there. Justin Simmons and Quandre Diggs are literally just in the wind. Xavier Howard is just in the wind. Tre'Davious White signed with the Rams today for 1 year, $8 million. And here we are sitting on $22 million worth of available cap space, and we have yet to address any of that. And then he basically slaps us in the face with this quote, "No question, we got work to do in the secondary still."
Chris, didn't you say we in a bad relationship?
Abusive. And by the way, this is once again to anybody who's ever been through any type of domestic violence. We don't condone, nor do we make light of that. So we definitely are not talking about that. But yes, this feels like an abusive relationship. It's like, I'm going to do better, and then you continue to do worse.
He basically gaslighted the fan base.
Yeah.
He's gaslighting. Hey, we're going to do things differently this year. Things are going to be a little bit different. And then he slowly, as the offseason, they probably forgot about that. And then he, at the postseason press conference, he's like, "Hey, we'll be aggressive where we need to be." And then now he's just back to what he always does, right? But I also think It's just how it's just like his recovery for like instead of saying, "Hey guys, I tried," this is just what he does. He just like backpedals himself.
Yeah.
And
And
maybe
but that's what
he got to get something checked out because you're saying the same things every season. Like I said, I've been saying for the longest. He gaslight us every year at the beginning. We have some hope, some high expectation, not for like a Super Bowl, maybe winning the division, which haven't won since 2014. And then we was one play away from either getting a first down, potentially winning the game, and hosting the game in Lucas Oil. We didn't do that. But then he come out and say, "Hey, I screwed up. I should have got a veteran for a secondary. You knew you needed one. You depended on young guys, and now we're going to year 2 with the same guys, and you're saying, okay, get those guys back. The guys got to stay healthy, and we think we can do something. It's the same cycle. It's the same. It's on repeat. Everything is going to be on repeat. He's hoping these guys can defend D-Hop and really for a whole game. He's hoping we can defend Mid T-Law and the receivers they got over there, Gabe Davis and Kirk. He's hoping these guys can defend these guys for a full game or a full season, and then it don't work out. He's gonna say, "Well, hey, I tried to get these cornerbacks, but they want to go home, or they chose another team, different market, or a contended team." But he's not really trying. These like we said last week. Is it Jeremy Chin?
Yeah.
He went for little nothing. I mean, I think he's secondary, right? A corner.
Yeah, he's a safety.
Safety.
I mean, that was cheap. You can't say you didn't have the money for that. You got 20 million, 18 to 20 million right now that you can get a guy for cheap. You're not trying. You're not even swinging. You're just missing. Yeah. And we thought that the whole offseason was held up by Sneed, and it really wasn't. It was just him saying, "Hey, we just calling guys where we really not. They're not coming. We're trying, but they're going elsewhere." That's a lie. I think you just doing what you do all the time with the offensive line. You did with the receivers. You did with the quarterback. You did. You choose to avoid those areas that we need and say, "Okay, hey, when we really do need it, 2 years from now, we say, hey, now we can draft this top corner, top 10 in the draft because he's available to us at that moment." And it's frustrating to the fan base.
Is it possible that I was just thought just came to me, and I'm just curious what you guys think. I know earlier we talked about Jim Irsay's daughter coming in and being the next one up. Is this Jim Irsay's last GM? He's trying to hold on to it as long as possible.
It has a feel of it.
It's
once Chris Ballard goes, Jim. Is that when Jim Irsay really relinquishes control and gives it up?
So if we're being honest, like with everything that's going on with the team and how everything's happening, you almost have to imagine that he's probably going to not necessarily be as involved, only because of the fact that to deal with what he deals with in regards to the team and everything else, it's just like it's stress. It's just like everybody says, "Oh yeah, I'd love to be an NFL owner because it's the best job ever." But the thing is, there's so much that goes into being an owner. Like you're literally you're responsible for $1 billion brand. And anything that happens within there can potentially go and hurt the value of that team. So there's just so much that's actually happening. That's why you have a team in place. That's why it's just like, even with the daughters, like I imagine that the daughters are way more involved than anybody knows, but you wouldn't know that because, as CEO, as CFO, as COO, or, whatever the role or titles are, that there's going to be a lot more that they're doing. Like all we see is literally Jim Irsay and we see Chris Ballard. But I'm willing to bet money that there's at least 10, 20, even 30 people in between those two who are a part of that vital function of those departments that make it so that, they're supposed to be operating a certain way. But the thing is, Irsay is just the one that's out front because, of course, he's Irsay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just random thought.
Yeah. And and also before we go any further, make sure that you're going to www.fanbattlesports.com for all articles, past episodes, all information. We make sure that we go ahead and try to put as much content on there as possible. So make sure that you are just following, subscribing on www.fanbattlesports.com. And let's make sure that we go ahead and just go over that. But you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do, because I do want to actually make it so that we go ahead and then we just talk about it, because there have been certain pundits, and I'm not even going to give a name to the lunacy that we're trying to call Michael Pittman Jr. a bum, that we're trying to say all these different things. But what I will say is that you better thank whatever God you pray to that Nico Collins actually ended up with CJ Stroud, because even Texans fans were ready to just say, yo, get this guy out of here. He's bum sauce, whatever doing it. But now all of a sudden you got a new offensive scheme, you got a new quarterback, and Nico Collins gets some yards, and now all of a sudden Michael Pittman Jr. is a bum, and far from it at that. But the thing is, I'm also not going to be addressing comments of teams that we split with, and that we made sure that we split with convincingly, because I'm not going to hear that from a team that needed us to go ahead and not get a catch in a winning in game, when the very first game there was none of that smoke and none of that energy. But I digress.
Imagine if Michael Pittman Jr. had CJ Stroud last season. He'd probably go for 1,500 yards.
Yeah. Damn near.
Yeah. And I call Michael Pittman Jr. a number 2 for 6 weeks. So
You called him a number 2 for 6 weeks?
Yeah, longer than that.
You've been calling Michael Pittman Jr. a number 2 since he was drafted.
6 weeks of 2023. What are you talking about?
Yo.
What are you saying right now?
Harish, a big part of friendship is holding each other accountable. I'm not going to let you just continue to spread that lie.
What? Why? It was literally the first 6 weeks of the season, and then I flip-flopped.
Sir.
I was just in my own potato head state.
I'm not doing this with you, Harish.
I was in my own state of potato head. I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry, man. I was in my own state of potato head. My bad, man. My head was finally baked.
You saying last year you never mentioned him being a 2? You didn't mention last year he was a 2?
No, never. What? I can't even count to 2. What are you talking about?
Moving on, because I'm not entertaining this right now. I'm just not. Like, we've had a lot of intense discussions on here, and that was one of them, as I was telling you that MPJ was wide receiver 1. And even Leslie said it. You called Pittman 2 for I think every year since he was drafted.
What? maybe that was evil. Maybe that was evil Harish. Yeah, that was my cousin.
No, you were evil Harish during that time.
I don't remember doing any of that. Just kidding, I do.
But yeah, I know. But moving on. So one of the things that also was discussed, because Stephen Holder put out an article saying that we did in fact pursue Daniel Hunter. We had a deal in place, but it looks like Hunter actually went with Houston. Even though we had a better deal, he chose to go home because he's originally from Houston. So that's who he ended up going with. I wish him all the worst. I mean, I'm not going to mince words. He just,
I got a reaction to that.
Go ahead, Josh. Go ahead. I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
Nothing wrong with him going back home. But nothing, this signing didn't scare me off, because, I mean, it'll remind you, the Texans had J.J. Watt and the bum on the other side. He's a top 5 pick and still can beat us. So I'm not worried. You guys know him. You know Jadeveon Clowney. He's a bum. They had 2 edge rushers, and they wasn't a threat to us. They just got to double-digit wins against us this year. Yeah. Or was it? Yeah, last year. I'm not worried about them getting those edge rushers. I got confidence in our guys in the offensive line. As Chris Ballard always says, we like our guys. I like our offensive line. They can block against those 2 guys on the edge, and we're Anderson and him. I'm not worried about that. And then we got a quarterback that can scramble out of those situations, not a guy that can a statue in the pocket like a Rivers, like a Matt Ryan. So we're good.
As long as our tackles stay healthy, as long as Ryman and Smith stay healthy, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah. I think one
It
thing
still
that's
stings a little, right? but
yeah,
but
Yeah.
this is one where I'm not mad at Ballard at, right? He swung and he missed, right? This is I'm okay with this. Listen, you offered the most money that you could, and he
yeah,
said no. That's fair. Like I'm
exactly.
okay with. I'm content with that, right? It's the backing down because you think the price is too high in a position of need, right? Which I don't know if he backed down on L'Jarius Sneed or not. It's the comments of saying, wait, but then if you spent all this time trying to give Danielle Hunter all this money, and then you come back and say we like what you have, you didn't like what you have, or else you wouldn't have tried to give this guy the most amount of money. Like this
Yeah.
is the kind of stuff that just doesn't make any sense. He moves the goalposts way too much for me.
Yeah. But
And he did it with the whole quarterback situation. He did it with the entire quarterback situation the first 6 years he was here until he drafted a damn quarterback. All my time here doesn't start until I draft a quarterback. He literally tells the entire fan base this, and we're like, oh yeah, this guy's out of here. And then now he's like, oh yeah, I'm now I guess my clock has started, and he's now 2 years. This is the second year into that clock.
Yeah, and it's just like it's the second year on the clock, but it's like, sir, like it's not a second year. Like this is year 8. Like what are we doing here?
Like you're not a brand new GM, bro.
Yeah, but you know what? Okay, so one thing that I think is very encouraging, at least with AR, is that like I said, we're going into year 2, so I will hope that during training camp there will be an intense week of him learning to slide. And then on top of that, think about who he had a chance to go against. He went against that Ravens defensive front until he got hurt. He went up against Aaron Donald, and we all saw exactly how he handled the pressure with being able to just go off and just score. I think it's just like 3 straight touchdowns by, moving around and doing what he did. I don't think that there's going to be a lot of situations that are going to be tough for him. It's just making sure that you polish up on some of the other things that that fundamentally you'll have to work on. And I think ultimately that does also feed into that offensive scheming, right? Because now that you like Michael Pittman Jr., you just re-signed him. You like Josh Downs because, he's a utility player. I think Shane Steichen, during the coaches meeting, I think they're in Florida or whatever, he talked about the fact that, AR basically was able to have those instincts where, he's not being robotic, where he's not saying, okay, there's 1, 2, 3, and then the check down. He's able to see, okay, well, you know what? He mentioned the Tennessee game when they're basically running like a fake jet, and then Josh Downs come across, but then he sees that nobody's covering him. So basically he just goes as soon as the ball snapped and he just kicks it right out to him. And then Josh Downs takes it like 20 yards. And he's like, that's not the way the play is drawn up, but that's those instincts that you see. So you see that you're able to move around and do everything that you need to in order to, basically just put these guys in position. So I think, having that extra year is fine. I know that there's going to be a lot of discourse regarding the offense and exactly what should go first in the draft. Based on Ballard's comments, I hate the fact that I have to say this, but I still have no clue what the hell he's doing. Like we still need safeties, we still need corners, we still need a pass rusher, but then this is a very deep wide receiver class. And you also have Roma Dunze out there, which, by the way, very impressive. They showed his stats for every single route that the wide receivers have on the route tree, and he's literally 80% or higher on every single route on the route tree.
He's so good. He's so good. This is what's interesting. I like the confidence of in AR, and it's grown onto me. I had to wait and see. Right, I wasn't a fan of the pick when it happened, but we don't really have a choice. You guys know this. I'm still very concerned that they're putting the hands of the franchise into a guy that's really only played 14 games. That's the piece that can. He didn't play a lot in Florida. He played 12 games, 13 games.
Yeah,
and he played basically. If you put all the quarters together, he played 6 quarters. So what is that? A game and a half?
To an extent, yeah.
So
so if we look at it, he played most of the Jacksonville game. Yep. I think with the exception of I think some of the fourth quarter.
It
And
was
then
the last possession.
Really
In the
like the
fourth
last
quarter.
few series, right?
you said what?
The last
It's like the last
series.
couple series or so.
Yeah. I mean, I think he played all of the Rams game.
Yeah.
He played a portion of the Texans game. I think he played until the second quarter of the Texans game.
The beginning of
Oh,
second.
so it was 11 quarters, not 6.
So yeah, and then he also did play part of the Baltimore game.
None.
Oh wait, no. He was out for that one. Because that was all
Yeah,
Minshew. Because
concussion.
that's when Kyle
Yeah.
Hamilton was blitzing him ridiculously.
Man.
So yeah. So the thing is, but I get like the lack of experience, but also at the same time, I think the lack of experience with what he's able to do, and also drawing up a scheme that is going to work for him, it kind of pays. I'm gonna say it kind of pays. It pays in and of itself. Because there's a lot of guys, like, mind you, we know that there were a bunch of players that had 6 years in because of COVID and some of those COVID hangovers. And the problem is that you played in those systems for as long as you did, and then you came into the league, and the league is different. Even the way that the rules go, even with the way that they go ahead and they officiate certain things, you don't see that. I think Will Levis was one of those guys. Stetson Bennett spent 8 years in school. The like he was there, for God knows whenever. And even when I think Matt Stafford, I don't know if Matt Stafford missed any time last year, but even Stetson Bennett, it's just like he was a healthy scratch in a couple games.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we're talking about how like the game relates, it really just comes down to a lot of scheme things, honestly, because it's self-sufficient, as they say, like Alabama quarterbacks are. They're not looking too good right now.
That's what, but then because of that though. So I was talking about this earlier, thinking about this earlier. Does Ballard go full heavy offense knowing this, right? You have an inexperienced quarterback, so do you just, with all this wide receiver talent, do we just go offense heavy in the draft and then sign somebody, kind of hopefully just hope and pray for a secondary, a safety and DB signing later in the free agency after the draft? Or, is there a mixed batch? Does Shane have enough influence, and does Shane like guys in the draft to say, dude, I want to go after, I'm just making names up, right? Brock Bowers, Xavier Worthy. Like, I want to go get these playmakers now because they can help make a difference for this quarterback because of his lack of experience.
So if, and like I said, and I'll let the rest of the guys also chime in. If we go and get any combination of Xavier Howard and Quandre Diggs, or Xavier Howard and Justin Simmons, I'm completely fine if they draft all offense for the rest of the draft, because that lets me know that we secured help in a unit that absolutely needed it.
Both sides.
I'm fine with that. I would agree with that as well.
Yeah. Then what about you, Austin? Because I know it's just like you look like you're like, I don't know.
No, I agree. I feel like, honestly, we need 2 safeties. But other than that, I agree.
Yeah.
Would you want like a veteran, like a Quandre or whatever, and a rookie, or would you want 2 vets?
I'm good with if we brought back Blackman and got either Diggs or Simmons, because I feel like Cross is still very young, even though he's going into his 3rd year. He's still very young, so I'm good with him playing. I just would like to have 2 vets starting.
I just, I'm at this point saying that somebody's too young, especially when we know like these guys can play, and we know they you're not doing anything in regards to their experience and development by holding them out, saying that they might be, they might be a little bit too youthful, because the only thing that's going to be able to remedy any of this is if they go and they decide to say, you know what, we're going to put him in, then we're going to be able to see it. Because if you put somebody out there, and let's just say they play decent, now you have something to work off of, because now you see on film exactly what you could have done differently, and you see exactly what you can do for next time. So, going into the next game, if there was ever a year to be able to put Nick Cross out there, it was this year, because the expectation wasn't that high, because you're running with a quarterback that everybody was saying was raw and was kind of green, and you have to see exactly what you have. But let's just be real about it. If you put Nick Cross out there knowing that you don't know, you know that Rodney Thomas had moments last year, but we have to see what we have this year. But the thing is, if you knew Rodney Thomas was playing out of position sometimes, put Nick Cross in. Julian Blackmon played strong safety. He can play free safety too. He can play either of those positions on the back end. You can put Nick Cross in a strong safety and see what you have for more than a series, just so that you have something to build off of. I think that's the issue that we have right now, is the fact that we keep on saying, oh, this guy's not ready, this guy's not ready. Well, when are they going to be ready? Because they're not going to be ready by just practicing against the same guys in practice, and they're not going to be ready just sitting here watching film or watching from the sideline. Like, just put him in and see what you got, and if it's not working out, then you know that there's a chance you move him somewhere else. Because, I mean, we don't know exactly what could happen. Nick Cross could go to linebacker for all we know if it doesn't pan out for him at safety. But we don't know, because and also it's this. If Gus Bradley was fired tomorrow, I'd be elated.
Listen, we're stuck with Gus, man. There's nothing unless there's a catastrophic drop in the middle of the season. His team is like 2-8, and the defense was just terrible. Gus Bradley ain't going nowhere, bro.
I hate it here. Leslie says if the guy they want is not there, they will sell the pick for 2 picks in the second round. I hate that.
I hate that so much.
I
think if the guy you don't want isn't there, then you have to go BPA. Like, trading down is not an option, in my opinion.
I just hate it because of the fact that it's the way that it's always been, when you can quite literally just go and just say, hey, let's just go ahead and, like you said, Harish, just draft best player available and do what we got to do.
Yep.
And then we have comments from Drake Wally, was on a couple weeks ago. Appreciate you once again, Drake. He says Xavier Howard and Simmons would probably cost like 20 to 22 million together on an annual basis. If you go free safety, skip Diggs. He had a down 2023 season, while Simmons hasn't regressed at all. Okay, so that's fair.
I'd say it's a little pricey. 20 to 22 combined. Oh, that's probably like 8 to 10 mil a piece. I don't do that actually.
Somewhere around it, yeah. Now, and then he says Simmons and Diggs, I bet, are similar in price too. Hoping they sign Simmons and stick Cross as strong safety. May still draft 1 too, so he can push Cross. I would like for Nick Cross to be out there, because I mean, as we stated before, he did have some flashes in some games last season. Like I said, the fact that he went up with George Pickens, who's just an absolute dog, and was able to basically just like steal his candy from him, and like, to me personally, I'm just like, all right, that's something that that you can build on. To be able to get to that spot and basically just go and play bully ball, to me it's something worth taking a look at and something worth exploring. So that's something that definitely does need to be explored further, because let's be honest, we can't keep on drafting guys and then making excuses for why they're not playing, and then just go ahead and do it. Because I mean, Daniel Scott is 25, 26 years old. He was 25 when he was a rookie, and then he's probably going to be a special teamer. But we can't keep on doing this nonsense that we're doing. They said if they trade back, I assume it'll be a late first round to still get Xavier Worthy.
I can be okay with that.
I'm down for it.
We know Harish. He's from Texas.
I love it.
Other than Xavier Howard, I know we mentioned J.C. Jackson. There's some other guys that out there that we could get. Micah Hyde, Gilmore. I know he's on 33 years old. They'd be cheaper than Xavier, who said he wants to go back home.
What was Gus Bradley the DC here when Gilmore was here?
Correct.
He was. That was his first year here, right?
Yeah, that was his first year. Yeah.
Why not? I mean, he already knows. Listen, I mean, that's the other piece, right? He already knows the system. He might be even less, right?
Yeah.
And he can teach these guys. He knows the system. So I mean, at that point, you're bringing in a guy to play, yeah, but he truly is teaching a guy like Juju Brents, who's even longer than he is, how to play that position inside of this system. Because Gus Bradley's going to be here unless we go like 1-60. So
this is true.
He needs to learn
I think they play the same though. I think they play similar.
And that's and that's the thing. Like that's why I said it's just like Sneed, Howard, Gilmore. They all have very, very similar play styles to Juju and Jalen Jones than they do to anybody else. That's why it's just like I've never been opposed to having Kenny Moore, but the problem is that Kenny Moore doesn't play the way that somebody like Juju and somebody like Jalen Jones can play. They're guys who are taller. I think Jalen Jones is 6'2", Juju's 6'3", and those are guys who are lanky. They can press, they can do all that. But the problem is that you don't have a veteran to be able to really coach them up on how to be able to do that. You bring in somebody like Gilmore, experience. You bring in somebody like Howard, experience. Like you bring in those types of guys who fit that mold. Absolutely. I think even if you bring in Simmons, I think that also helps with some of those guys like underneath, because Simmons is another guy who's a little bit taller, but they kind of play him hybrid sometimes where he may play a little bit of man going into zone, but of course it's majority zone. So that's generally what we're looking at. But yeah, no, I think I'd be fine with that. I mean, Gilmore's a little bit older, so he's probably going to be playing a lot more zone anyway.
Yeah. We're probably going to end up with Khalil Dorsey.
Who was that?
Exactly my point.
You know what? I'm not doing this. All right. And then lastly, before we get out of here, they officially voted the hip drop tackle is banned. So now this is going to be an automatic penalty if it happens. Yeah, this is set up for, this is a ratings thing. It has to be. Because this is a ratings thing. Because the thing is, if we're talking about the hip drop tackle, there's only but so many angles that you're actually going to be able to tackle a lot of these defenders with.
Yep.
And, you know, with that being said, it's going to make things a lot tougher to play on defense, knowing that you have to adjust. Now, mind you, there's more than one way to tackle, but the problem is that these are uber athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you have somebody like a Derrick Henry, for example, you're trying to bring him down. You're not going to be able to just bring him down, just going heads up with him and then, you know, whatever, because you'll probably get stiff-armed into the shadow realm.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you're going to have to adjust and make things that much more awkward. Like now it's just like in the year of 2024, it is going to be that much tougher to be a defender.
I think running back is going to go up in stock this year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think this is a rule that running backs are definitely gonna benefit from.
Yeah. And also the kickoff rule that they just implemented, basically it's just like the XFL kickoff style. Like basically just it's
I'm not gonna lie.
I don't hate
I kinda
that.
like it. I don't hate it either. I kind of like it. Have you seen the XFL kickoff? It's actually really exciting.
I gotta see it again.
By the way,
You'll get more
UFL
returns.
Yeah, shameful UFL plug. UFL returns this weekend, so it's a good time to check out how it's going to work. But yeah, I think you're going to get more returns. I think it's more that's the reason why they brought it versus safety, because I think they said something like 80% of kickoffs were touchbacks or something like that.
Yeah, and just because of how far they were kicking. Yeah.
That's pretty.
Because all you have to do is boot it in the end zone. I think the next evolution of this is they might do this in the XFL or UFL. They said something like if you don't kick it within like a certain radius of like the kickoff, like you have to kick it in between like the 20. I don't know what the exact wording is on it, but if you don't kick it within like a certain space, then the ball automatically goes to like the 30-yard line or the 40-yard
line. Yeah.
There's something like that. I don't know exactly what the rule is, but I think there's something like that. But I actually don't hate the kickoff rule. I think it's gonna be really cool.
Yeah, I mean the kickoff rule is just like But it's just like the hip drop tackle thing. It's just like that just bugs me because you're almost like defense has to be controlled, right? So now it's like if you're a pass rusher, you can't go at the quarterback a certain way. If you have running backs coming out the backfield, you can't tackle them a certain way, even though generally they have a full head of steam and all the momentum. Now what you're doing is you're now allowing wide receivers and tight ends, majority tight ends, because this right here is a very, very tight end friendly rule in terms of the hip drop tackle, because tight ends generally are going to be much bigger. They're going to be heavier. They're going to be taller. So now you're going to have to adjust the way that you play them. And the thing is, unless it's a linebacker, generally a cornerback is going to have to be the one to tackle them, and cornerbacks generally don't fare well against tight ends because they're at a supreme weight and height disadvantage.
It's definitely a momentum booster for the offense.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and you know, like that's the reason why I said it's a ratings thing, because I mean, you see exactly how they're doing. Like they want to put the ball in Tyreek's hands as much as possible. They want to put the ball in Josh Allen, Justin Jefferson, Pat Mahomes, everybody's hands as much as possible. So giving them the opportunity to go out there on offense as much as they can is only going to be better for ratings and jersey sales and everything else. So like I said,
what you're saying is in a couple of years, defense will be non-existent.
No, defense will be there, but I mean, they'll probably be either pulling out flags or doing two-hand touch.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's the other reason. That's the other reason I want to go offense. Like, what's the point of going defense if all these rules are being implemented against the defense?
Correct.
Just go get a bunch of speedsters. They can't touch you anyway, so you just run past everyone.
Exactly, but it is what it is.
Just go get Xavier Wither. I mean, I think he'd be perfect. 4.2 speed is perfect in this generation of NFL.
All right, and on that note, we've now come to the end. All right, and also, quick note from Shane Steichen's mouth: AR will be ready for spring practice. So let's go ahead and raise the roof. All right, because it's happening. All right, he said, I can see a lot of drag tackles, and seeing ball handles breaking tackles. Yeah, that's where we are. That's pretty pathetic. But we'll be back next week, and next week we'll be back with good friend of the podcast. He's in so many right now. I think he has like a UFC, WWE, AEW, whatever wrestling. Of course, he does Colts. We'll have Kev Nevek next week. He'll be on here with us, so make sure that you stay tuned next Tuesday. In the meantime, guys, tell the people where they can find you on social media and everywhere else.
You can find me on Twitter at CookieAustin2.
All right. Josh?
You can find me on Twitter at WhoIsJoshSenior.
Harish?
Find me on Twitter at the Uncle Gandhi.
Yes, and you can find me at CJ Colts fan. Like I said, just make sure that you are liking, commenting, sharing. Listen, let's make sure we're running these numbers up on YouTube, okay? We're trying to make sure that we go ahead. We're trying to do these giveaways, but if y'all aren't going to cooperate, then we need to make sure that we go ahead and get the numbers up. Like, come on, everybody can win. I mean, except for us, we can't because, I mean, we're here. But make sure that you are running those numbers up. If you like it, if you comment, if you are sharing, if you are following, tell somebody else to follow. Make sure that everybody's following. Make sure that we do this. Go Indiana State, go Purdue. Sure, but make sure that we are following. Make sure that you're following, doing everything is normal. And like I said, we're signing off. And as always, please remember. Please remember